Good evening, and welcome to the annual meeting for the Army Historical Foundation. My name is Kathleen Lugerich, and I'm the Manager of Visitor Engagement and Programs, and I'll be your host for this evening. Before we begin, I want to help familiarize you with the GoToWebinar platform. On the left-hand side of your screen is your viewer, where you will see our panelists' cameras and presenter slides. On the right-hand side is your control panel, where you can ask questions and select your audio mode. If you are using headphones or a Bluetooth device, please make sure to go into the audio mode to select the correct device under the speaker icon so that you can hear the presentation. Also, please make sure to check your computer's volume settings. You can also select the sound check link in audio mode to help select the best setting for your device. If you have a question during the presentation, or need technical assistance, please type it in the questions section of your control panel, located just underneath the audio section. Questions will be collected by our staff and asked at the end of the program during the question and answer portion. Program staff will also use the control panel to send additional information. A final note before we begin, this program is being recorded and will be posted online for you to view at a later date and share with others. And now I'd like to hand things over to Lieutenant General Roger Schultz.
Thanks, Kathleen. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Army Historical Foundation's 2021 annual meeting. While this format is certainly different, it's still a great way to connect, at least for now. Museum's brief opening period last November provided some great insights. You know, we all learned. As we open this meeting, I want to send each of you a personal message, a personal thanks for responding to our email blasts, to our monthly messages, to all our donors. You have literally kept our campaign in being. You'll hear more later in the program about this, but our fundraising continues to be successful, which is great news for sure. We hope you're enjoying a drink in one of our virtual meeting kits. If you missed one, they're available in our museum store. It's a great place to pick up Army and museum products. The real news tonight is the museum has just reopened. As your schedules permit, do come see this place, this museum, this special place each of you helped us create. It certainly is a place fitting those who have served in our Army. Okay, I have a lot to cover this evening, so let's move to the rest of the agenda.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Army Historical Foundation's 2021 General Membership Meeting. I'm privileged to be serving as the current chair of the Foundation's Board of Governors. We all know 2020 was the most difficult business year anyone can remember, but the Army Historical Foundation remains fully operational. There is not a single organization on the globe that was not impacted by COVID-19. Not all of them are here today, but we are, thanks entirely to the commitment and generosity of our members. We have not merely survived nearly 18 months of a global pandemic. We have prevailed. Each and every one of you played a role in that accomplishment. Your unwavering support and generosity have been remarkable. Thanks to you, we are here today. I regret this evening's virtual format, but we have leveraged technology to reach as many members as possible. Perhaps next year we'll allow a different venue for those who are willing to travel. The Foundation staff has assembled a unique update for tonight's meeting, showing what it took to navigate the challenges of 2020. We currently number over 27,000 dues-paying members, and many of us signed up to participate online tonight. Your commitment is clear, and your support has been crucial. Great credit for navigating the difficulties of 2020 goes to our past chairman, General Gordon Sullivan, as well as 5 long-serving, dedicated directors whose service to the Foundation was completed with the opening of the National Museum of the U.S. Army this past November 2020. In addition to Gordon Sullivan, we owe Bill Campbell, George Casey, Ann Dunwoody, Dave Hebner, and Sandy Pack a great debt of gratitude for their commitment to an idea and the ideal behind it, telling the never-ending story of the American soldier. For his vision and inspired leadership, Gordon Sullivan was elected the Foundation's first Director Emeritus, and all departing directors have trees planted in their honor on the grounds of the museum. We thank them all for their many years of dedicated and selfless service to this foundation and to its members in making this magnificent museum a reality. With the beginning of 2021, we welcome 6 new directors to the board. Ray Bloom, who is no stranger to the foundation, Arsalan Lutfi, Alta Riggs, Dan Starks, Jordan Tannenbaum, who is also no stranger, and Dennis Vai. We greatly appreciate their willingness to help this historical foundation preserve and present the legacy of soldiers and Army civilians who have served and safeguarded our nation. These new directors bring talented performances in a variety of disciplines, which strengthen and enhance our already talented board. I thank them for their willingness to serve. Tonight, I'd also like to remember and honor 2 great servants of the Foundation, General Bill Hartzog and Miss Jody Davis, both of whom we lost last year. They kept the dream of an Army museum alive from the very beginning through some lean years and clearing a path for what stands today. This gleaming museum on the hill radiates their presence. We begin tonight's meeting with this State of the Foundation update, along with the announcement of our annual Chairman's Award. The State of the Foundation update will be followed by a 3-dimensional virtual tour of the museum conducted by our president, Roger Schultz. And following Roger's tour, the Foundation's revenue generation and public programming updates will be briefed. Then Distinguished Writing Award announcements will be introduced by Colonel Jennifer Pritzker, U.S. Army retired. We will then pause briefly for a special music interlude by Foundation friend and member Don Francisco. Don has been the welcoming smile at so many of our functions over the years, and we'd like to share a bit of his energy and enthusiasm for soldiering with you. The generosity of long-standing members, as well as the hard work of the Foundation staff to recruit donors, have made it possible for us to continue our mission during these unprecedented times. Our purpose? To preserve the Army's heritage and educate the future through the stories and experiences of its soldiers remains as important as ever. The Foundation will continue to support the Army's National Museum through targeted fundraising efforts, revenue-generating operations, and membership programs. Together, these initiatives will fund the Foundation's planned expansions, technology enhancements, critical outreach programs, and programmed museum enhancements. As you all know, our grand opening last November 11th was brief but spectacular, to borrow a phrase. Remember, the first call to action to build a National Museum came in 1814 through an act of Congress. Well, after 206 years, it was time to open the museum's doors, and for 32 days, we enjoyed an incredible run. Attendance was through the roof, positive retail, cafe, and attraction sales. Then, for reasons of health safety, we were forced to close temporarily until just 3 days ago. We used the intervening months to hone our retail skills, which are now being applied with our doors wide open. Now, the Foundation had a very successful 2020 in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our programs and services to their most successful year ever. With your help, they raised over $6.8 million, and the Major Gifts team exceeded their fundraising goal by over $1 million. All this due to donors and supporters like yourselves. You made all of this possible. And even better, 2021 is off to a strong start with both Major Gifts and programs and services. Both initiatives are currently ahead of goal. Another notable achievement, our growth in membership. With the first construction phase nearly completed, coupled with the museum's opening, we invited founding sponsors to join as museum foundation members. That has resulted in over 27,000 new foundation members since the program was introduced. With benefits and discounts in the museum store, cafe, and simulator attractions, members can look forward to more programs, staff rides, and campus growth in 2022. As a foundation, we are continuously looking at ways to improve operations. With increased digital programs and outreach, we have been able to maintain connection with our national donor and member base, just as we are doing tonight. Moving now to museum construction. Our current plans include several exterior projects at the museum site. These include Warriors Field and Plaza, in addition to a memorial garden. In this special place, we have the opportunity to remember all who have lost their lives in support of Army missions over the past 246 years. These outdoor event and experiential spaces are expected to further enhance the museum as a national tourist destination. This is America's museum, America's Army Museum. Soldiers and Army civilians and their families will see themselves in it. Their timeless service and sacrifice will not be forgotten. Through your continuing support, their values will be shared and seeded with future generations. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you for what you're doing to keep those who have served in the hearts and minds of Americans. In this magnificent museum, we share their stories. And through our education initiatives, we underscore the Army's role as an instrument of national policy. It's not a job, it's not drudgery, it's the willingness of young Americans to safeguard our democracy. We at the Army Historical Foundation are privileged to preserve their legacy by telling their stories. Now finally, a special thanks to our Mistress of Ceremonies, Kathleen Lagarich, our Manager of Visitor Engagement and Programs. Kathleen will be guiding us through this evening's virtual format. With that, let me toss it back to Kathleen as she introduces our Honor Walk virtual tour.
Thank you, sir. Now with the help of technology, we can share a virtual 3D tour and bring a bit of the museum to you. We start on the Honor Walk with a view of the exterior campus and plans of our future expansion. General Schultz will be our tour guide for this evening as we take a closer look. General, please lead the way.
It's my pleasure to show you a closer look at the exterior of the museum and showcase some of the unique campus attributes in addition to our growth plans on the museum grounds. Here we're traveling up the approach leading to the entry plaza. Notice the museum's glass and stainless steel structure. This is a symbol and it reflects the strength of America's Army while also providing a powerful first impression. The straight lines on the building's exterior remind visitors of the discipline displayed by our soldiers throughout our Army's history. A common thread to the museum theme we hear time and time again is how this special place honors our soldiers' selfless performance of duty, their sacrifices, their courage, their accomplishments, while recounting the history of our nation as seen through the eyes of those who served. The path of remembrance and unit tributes positioned along the museum's entrance is a great example of that theme, shown in stone. The promenade that leads visitors from the parking area to the museum's entrance includes the path of remembrance. This section of the promenade is comprised of more than 8,000 commemorative bricks made of black granite, sponsored by our supporters of the museum campaign. This brick program is still running strong, and we are expanding locations along the grounds to support more recognition opportunities that lie ahead. Also running along the path of remembrance are unit tributes. These are 12 by 18-inch black granite plaques honoring Army units throughout history. You can see here, this special area of recognition is where you can read personal soldier tributes and unit recognitions as you walk along the promenade. You can also see here in each of these plaques as they represent the story from a unit perspective of the U.S. Army. This is the story of ordinary Americans who came together to accomplish the extraordinary, and this is both seen and felt. I participate in lots of museum tours. Many of our guests, as they arrive, want to see their unit tribute even before going into the museum. Keep in mind, you can also learn more about our commemorative brick program and our unit tribute program on our website. Or Samantha Chavez, our program and services teammate, will be happy to assist you with any additional information about these programs. Next, we'll move to Warriors Field. It's also a field and plaza. As you see, it's just sod field today. Later this year, we'll begin construction on the walkways and grounds. We'll be installing an irrigation system in addition to the plaza itself. This place will draw visitors without any question. Let me give you a couple brief examples. Twilight Tattoos, hosted by the Old Guard and members of the Army Band, Pershing's Own. How about this? On 7 August, we'll have an 1812 Overture concert right here on this field. Another place that's special. It's just in design stages now, but this is our Memorial Garden. It's a place where you can see beyond the rendering a sense for what we're at least thinking about in terms of the detail. This will be a place dedicated to those we have lost across our Army's history. This place will serve, once again, as a reminder of the courage, of the selfless duty, and of the sacrifice of the American soldier.
This is a great way for us to bring the museum to you while we keep our distance remotely and enjoy the spaces inside and outside the museum together as a large group. We've taken the same technology and crafted an interior for your viewing pleasure. Now let's enter the Army's front door and get a closer look inside. Back to you, General.
As we enter the museum lobby and glance straight ahead, we are immediately drawn to the massive black granite wall. This is our campaign wall, and it provides a snapshot of the Army's 246-year history. Listed here are all the campaigns and battles supporting each of the campaigns. A combat veteran recently told me, this wall talks to you, if you take the time to listen to it. Another feature is the 21-foot Army emblem inlaid into the center of the lobby's terrazzo flooring. This bright and open space is accented by colored glass panels in the ceiling, represent each of the Army's campaigns. It is safe to say this whole lobby talks to us. Another thing visitors notice is the donor wall. The Army Historical Foundation's top supporters are featured on the Circles of Distinction wall. With that in mind, however, I want to remind each of you that it's only with the total support of over 200,000 founding sponsors that our museum exists today. As we think about our progress at the museum site, the museum building itself is really a starting point. Work remains here on the museum's exterior. Leading visitors from the lobby are the stainless steel pylons of the Soldier Story Gallery, aligned in formation in front of the Soldier's Creed. These pylons showcase etchings and personal stories of the soldiers selected from different eras to reflect the courage, strength, and diversity of our Army. As we move along now, past the pylons, we reach the Army Concourse, where you can see the Fighting for the Nation galleries running the length of the museum. These galleries trace a chronological history of the Army from colonial times through today. Rarely and never before displayed artifacts, immersive exhibits, and detailed scenes bring these turning points in history to life. As we walk through the space, I will highlight some of our exhibits and artifacts. The Founding of the Nation Gallery includes a diorama of the 300-mile journey in 1775 led by Henry Knox, with over 60 tons of cannons and heavy weapons from Fort Ticonderoga to Boston. Later, in the War of 1812 exhibit, we see Captain John Barry's saber, one of the few objects known to have been used during the defense of Baltimore in 1814. In the Global War Gallery, you can see life-size soldiers descending a cargo net to a waiting Higgins boat. This is one of the boats that delivered soldiers to the Normandy shores on D-Day. This boat is one of only 6 surviving from the Normandy beach landings on 6 June 1944. In the Vietnam exhibit, an iconic Huey helicopter is suspended from the ceiling. This gunship flew for 8 years in Vietnam combat. Another feature in this gallery is the corporal from the 9th Division. He's a machine gunner carrying extra ammunition, parachute flares, grenades, canteens, and smoke grenades. This cast figure is so lifelike that it appears real. In the Changing World Gallery, the area is dedicated to the Army's most recent history. You will see the Bradley fighting vehicle that was the first into Baghdad in 2003 with the 3rd Infantry Division. The stories in this gallery remind our visitors of our Army's experience since the end of the Cold War in 1989. Also located off the concourse is the Army and Society Gallery. Perhaps unique for a military museum, this gallery explores the relationship between the Army and the American people and how the Army has played a key role in shaping our national character. It tells of the Army innovations and inventions, the role of the Army family, responses to disasters, and the creation of critical infrastructure. Another key feature of the museum is the Army Theater, an immersive 300-degree multisensory experience. Through the museum's signature film, Of Noble Deeds, showcases the Army values and what it truly means to be an American soldier. I want to show you another unique museum space as we venture toward the museum's entrance here. A peek at our experiential learning center. Here, visitors have the chance to participate in hands-on interactive activities designed for all ages to develop the skills and have fun with geography, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics through virtual, challenging, hands-on based real-life missions. Now, we are moving to the museum's 2nd floor, where our special exhibition gallery exists. The current exhibit is focused on combat art entitled The Art of Soldiering. The pieces here visually depict the experiences of the American soldier from the Civil War to the present through art produced on the front lines. On the museum's 3rd floor, we enter our primary facility rental space, where you can attend celebrations and ceremonies and special events in Veterans Hall. This multifunctional space has full audiovisual capabilities and is the largest of the museum spaces available to the public and private events on the 3rd floor. Adjacent to Veterans Hall is the Medal of Honor experience, which invites us to learn about the nation's highest award for valor. We can also take a view and step out onto the adjoining rooftop garden overlooking the entire museum campus. The garden is designed in tribute to the Army's Medal of Honor recipients, whose names are permanently etched on a black granite wall. On this upper level, you also get a chance to view a display of Nisei soldier artifacts in this special exhibition space. These chosen pieces will tell of the courage, struggles, and experiences of second-generation Japanese-American soldiers and their families at home and abroad during World War II. Last but certainly not least, we can take a view of our other Foundation-managed attractions back on the main floor. Our museum store is full of merchandise, and some can also be purchased online from our website. We also have a great virtual shopping experience you should check out as well. And we must not forget our museum's cafe and Army Action Center. Stop by and enjoy a cafe terrace for lunch, and grab a ticket to our virtual reality and simulation gallery. Ultimately, our museum stands as a proper tribute to the American soldier. While virtual and brief, we want to at least provide you a view of just how far our project has come with your help. We look forward to welcoming visitors from around the world, and as we do, we promised it was worth the wait.
Thanks again, General. These virtual experiences are a really nice teaser for what we can expect at the museum. Now that we have reopened, we hope a planned visit is in your future. The museum does require a time ticketing reservation for free entry, and the program and services team wanted me to remind you to keep an ear and eye out for news on our upcoming Members Mondays. Next up, we have an update on our revenue generation activities with a report from our Foundation's operations team. Our AHF brand manager, creative guru, longtime Foundation staffer, and our resident voiceover talent, Randy Yasenchuk, covers a review of some of our new areas of responsibility in the museum.
Thanks, Kathleen. Along with the museum's grand opening, the revenue generation channels tied to the museum experience were also formally launched this past fall. Although temporary closure and the latest group gathering protocols have impacted the event industry as a whole, we've used this time to pivot and become more resilient as we plan for future events, maintain online retail sales, and prepare for reopening. We begin with our special events and facility rentals. The Army Historical Foundation's operations team is a vital part of the facility rental offerings at the National Army Museum as the primary channel to revenue generation activities tied to paid special event opportunities on site. The museum offers a variety of during and after hours, indoor or outdoor spaces for events of all sizes. Whether you're looking to have a promotion ceremony reception, a gala banquet, board meeting, birthday, or training workshop, the museum is a unique setting for your event, and our team will work with you to craft the perfect event. Our on-site event, catering, and support staff is dedicated to translating an event vision into a successful and memorable occasion for each client. The museum's exclusive in-house caterer uses the best local and sustainable fresh foods and can create a menu for any occasion or dietary need. In addition to any of the event spaces, the museum offers a number of immersive experiences to elevate your event to the next level. We are also pleased to share that the National Museum of the United States Army was honored with Convention South's prestigious Top New or Renovated Meeting Site Award. This is a great industry award that brings valued attention to our special event spaces as a new-to-the-market venue in the region. Next, we share our insight into our Army Action Center and photography experience. Another unique space in the museum is the Army Action Center, which features the virtual reality and motion theater attractions. The museum's cutting-edge virtual reality and simulator experiences will transport you into the Army through the power of virtual reality, motion platforms, and state-of-the-art systems. Great for all ages. The space in the museum is managed by the Army Historical Foundation and is a valuable revenue channel that we are thrilled to support. Tickets are available for purchase on site, and gift certificates are also available. Seeing the visitors participate in and enjoy our attractions, from a World War II tank simulation to a futuristic target practice, showcases the value of these paid engagements. The photo kiosk offers visitors a lasting, personalized memory of their experience provided by Photo ATM and managed by AHF. The kiosk provides a variety of options and products for visitors to print their museum photos. Guests may also print their smartphone photos and personalize their social media images with the museum's hashtags. For our foodies and shoppers, an update on our cafe and retail operations. Our revenue generation efforts continue with the museum cafe and store. The cafe is a great amenity for visitors and staff that offers a fresh food experience that is affordable and fast. The Foundation team was also very excited to finally launch our brick-and-mortar retail store on site this past fall as part of the museum opening. The store launch allowed visitors to leave with more than just memories by choosing from a variety of museum and Army souvenirs. The store has continued generating revenue via the online store, featuring a 3D shopping experience, offering similar apparel, souvenirs, gifts, and other select merchandise. Both our food and retail partners have worked closely with AHF and the museum team to abide by COVID-19 restrictions and safety precautions to keep all visitors, volunteers, and staff safe and healthy. That covers our revenue generation activity. I'll be back later in the program with an update on publications. Kathleen, back to you.
Thanks to our foundation staff for that compilation of revenue generation activities. It's so great to see the attractions and amenity offerings well received by the public with our grand opening, and now reopening. Next up is a report from my personal side of the operations team, so I'm a little biased. Our AHF public programming update. As the foundation saw a pivot in public engagement following the museum's temporary closure this past winter, it was a great opportunity to focus energy past our grand opening to developing programs, especially programs that could be easily accessible from home. Myself and our chief historian, Matt Seelinger, came together to convert past AHF in-person programming to a free virtual series focused on the experiences of the American soldier. We kicked off our series this past winter with a panel discussion on the journey of Chinese American veteran soldiers of World War II. The program focused on their enlistment and wartime experiences to the 2018 award of the Congressional Gold Medal. The program included a discussion with panelists and a presentation of how the National Museum of the United States Army tells their story. The second in this series focused on soldier experiences tied to medical innovations. A historical presentation by Mr. Seelinger was followed by a panel discussion with active and retired Army medical personnel and a presentation of medical innovations displayed in the museum. The Army Historical Foundation was also excited to develop new programming themes this past spring with the launch of Army Soundbites. The Army Soundbites program is a series of 15-minute, free, live, virtual programs focused on the history of food and drink in the U.S. Army. Programs will feature on-point contributors, historians, and other museum professionals, including living history reenactors at Army-related museums and historic sites. The first program featured Thomas Plott, the manager of character interpretation at George Washington's Mount Vernon. Mr. Plott portrayed George Washington's personal physician, Dr. James Craik, and recounted the struggle and adversity of trying to feed the Army during the Revolutionary War. Viewers learned of the daily rations, the lack of an established supply system, and the inventive ways the soldiers kept themselves nourished. We were also excited to partner with the museum on a unique way to bring the museum volunteer experience into a virtual platform with the Volunteer Stories from Home that we launched this past April. Volunteer Stories from Home is our weekly video series highlighting the museum's volunteer corps. Each volunteer comes from a different background, has a different connection to the U.S. Army, and has their own story of service to tell. All of them are passionate about history, lessons, and values we can learn directly from the American soldier. Hosted by the Foundation, these video clips are just a glimpse into the lives of the museum's volunteers. They are one of the museum's most valuable assets, and we were proud to lead an effort so they can share the storied history of the U.S. Army and our nation. With reopening, the Foundation continues to work with the museum to develop programming and looks forward to offering exclusive fee-based components to the museum's free programs as a revenue generation opportunity. So that covers some of the latest news in AHF programming. Recorded sessions of these series can be found online at armyhistory.org. We've covered a lot of AHF updates. Now's a good time for a music break. A familiar smile and friend of the Foundation over the years is our member and history advocate, who also happens to be our favorite fifer, Don DeFrancisco. We have heard him often over at the nearby Mount Vernon, and now he joins us tonight for a virtual performance. know you can't hear our applause from home, but as usual, you deliver the smiles. Thank you for your performance and also for your support as a longtime member. Next in our program is an update from our history team with the latest on our military journal, On Point. Randy is back to share this update as our lead graphic designer on our award-winning publication. Randy?
Thanks, Kathleen. As you mentioned earlier, I'm the Army Historical Foundation's brand manager and lead designer of On Point. I've been able to watch the journal grow over time with over 15 years of production support to the publications team. We all ventured into extraordinary territory since March of 2019 and all through last year. The ways in which people found themselves ingesting digital content became more relevant to us than we had ever seen in years past. We all found ourselves at home and in front of our phones and computers more than ever. The Foundation's publication team was tasked with bringing AHF's military journal into a digital platform to increase access and visibility with the surge in digital content in the marketplace. This urgency for digital content, combined with public safety measures, absolutely affected some of the ways we research and assemble the historical materials we put together to share with our members and followers. As such, the history and marketing teams dove into unprecedented territory as well to deliver On Point online, expanding the print version of our beloved publication to this new interactive and digital format. We've been able to bring more features while expanding the reading experience with just the click of a button. With many of our members engaged in online content and digital periodicals, bringing On Point to homes virtually has offered us new reach that we've never had before. We now offer our audiences two versions of our flagship publication, print and digital, and we look forward to expanding the article themes and interactive content even more.
Thanks, Randy. It's great to see the print version of our flagship magazine come to life in this new digital format as well. We are past our midpoint in tonight's program, and one of our annual meeting highlights has always been the announcement of our annual Book and Writing Awards. This year, we asked our longtime award program judge and foundation supporter, Colonel Jennifer Pritzker. Colonel?
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to share in the announcement of the Army Historical Foundation's 2021 Distinguished Writing Awards. As a personal contributor to this program and as an avid reader and awards judge, I'm honored to share more with you about the Foundation's Writing and Awards program. The Foundation awards new and significant contributions to the study of Army history to ensure that the history and heritage of the United States Army is preserved for future generations. This sentiment not only speaks to the Army Historical Foundation's mission, but also to their future and vision of the organization. These awards recognize outstanding books and articles that make a significant contribution to the historical literature of the Army. So, let's begin. Kathleen, please join me in presenting the 2021 Distinguished Writing Awards.
Thank you, Colonel. Let's begin with our winning biography. Courage Above All Things, General John Ellis Wool and the U.S. Military, 1812 to 1863, by Harwood P. Hinton and Jerry Thompson, University of Oklahoma Press. Congratulations. Under Journals, Memoirs, and Letters category, Rangers Led the Way, World War II Army Rangers in Their Own Words, by Chris Ketcherside and George Despotis, MD, Schiffer Publishing. Congratulations. For operational battle history, the U.S. volunteers in the Southern Philippines, Counterinsurgency, Pacification, and Collaboration, 1899 to 1901, by John Scott Reed, University Press of Kansas. Congratulations. In our institutional functional history category, Civil War Supply and Strategy, Feeding Men and Moving Armies, by Earl J. Hess, Louisiana State University Press. Congratulations. For unit history, To the Last Man, a National Guard Regiment in the Great War, 1917 to 1919, by Jonathan B. Bratton, Army University Press. Congratulations. Next, under our reference category, we have Civil War Flags of Tennessee by Stephen D. Cox, University of Tennessee Press. Congratulations. And finally, under our articles category, for academic journals, our Army will hut this winter at Valley Forge, George Washington, Decision Making, and the Councils of War by Ricardo A. Herrera, Army History, Fall 2020. Congratulations. And our final awardee under our journals and magazines category, we have Ernie Was One of Us by Ray Morris Jr. in the Quarterly Journal of Military History, Autumn 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thanks to the awardees for their contributions to Army history in your writing. Congratulations.
We have selected someone who has been an invaluable champion of the Army Historical Foundation. Brigadier General Creighton Abrams, a 31-year Army soldier and our Foundation Executive Director for nearly 20 years. Without Creighton's determination and leadership during those early days, many would have given up on the museum. And look where it has taken us. So Creighton, thank you for your leadership and dedication. This award is long overdue. Congratulations and thank you for your leadership.
Hi, I'm Creighton Abrams, a very grateful but also astounded recipient of this year's Chairman's Award. Happily, my mission today is to talk about General Bill Hartzog and Mrs. Emma Jo Davis and their role in the revitalization of the Army Historical Foundation and the creation of the National Museum of the United States Army. Bill Hartzog was a four-star general who graduated from the Citadel in 1963, commanded an infantry company in Vietnam, the 1st Infantry Division at Fort Riley, Kansas, and finally for 4 years, the Army's huge and indispensable Training and Doctrine Command, from which he retired in 1998. Mrs. Davis, known to those around her as Jody, was a consummate Department of the Army civilian who graduated from the University of North Carolina in 1953, taught high school along with her husband in Virginia, and then joined the DA civilian ranks in 1961, all while raising a family. She later became the curator, actually the savior, of the Army Transportation Museum at Fort Eustis, Virginia, and then spent her final 10 years as the director of all 60 Army museums worldwide. By the time she retired in 1991, she had become a trailblazer. The three of us joined forces in 2000 when I was the new executive director. Mrs. Davis had been the vice president of AHF since 1994, and General Hartzog was the new chairman and president. At the time, I thought I worked for both of them, but looking back, I now think General Hartzog and I were both doing Jody Davis's bidding. We used to compare notes. Jody would call him every Sunday evening at home, and me once or twice during the week. She, far more than either of us, had a clear vision of where the Army's museum should go, what should go into it, how the architects and the exhibit designers should be selected, and most of all, what it could accomplish for the Army, for soldiers and veterans and their families, and for the American people.
I believe that if we can pull it off, that this museum will change the way that the Army looks at itself. Now, that's asking a lot, but I think that will be possible. And certainly will be possible to tell these millions of our fellow citizens some of the things that the Army has done that have enhanced the growth of this country and set the example and helped in many, many different ways.
It was her visit to the recently selected exhibit design firm that led to the development of the unique Army and Society Gallery you can see today. As an active daughter of the American Revolution, she also had a strong belief in what the United States Army meant to America. As insightful and skillful as Mrs. Davis was, the foundation, which 20 years ago had few members, little cash, and an uncertain future, could not have persevered without the stature and commitment of General Bill Hartzog. Having commanded the Army's Training and Doctrine Command, he now ran a successful business, served on the Defense Science Board, and had access to the leadership of the Army. Over nearly 15 years and 60 board meetings, of which he missed just one, General Hartzog's leadership changed everything. With him at the helm, AHF grew in size and funding, and the Army moved quickly to pick an ideal site, architects, exhibit designers, and exhibit fabricators. Like Mrs. Davis, General Hartzog's commitment to the history of the Army began with his heritage. When he was young, his dad, a successful railroad executive, and his compatriots told stories about the vital work they had done as recruited U.S. Army railroad engineers in the several theaters of World War II. Enrolling at the Citadel became an inevitable choice. And later he designed and taught a course in U.S. Army history to West Point cadets that then became a book published by the Army. I think it is also fair to say that General Hartzog was part of Army history. As a new brigadier general in the J3 at Southern Command in Panama, he was the architect of the brilliant, complex, and superbly executed plan. All 27 key objectives were accomplished in the first 24 hours to defeat the Panamanian Defense Forces and overthrow the unlawful dictator and drug trafficker, Manuel Noriega. That operation, called Just Cause, is on display in the Fighting for the Nation galleries. As important as the history of the Army is to our country, it's the small stories, the soldier stories, which can be the most compelling. A member of the AHF staff once said, "We hope that some of the best stories told in the Army's museum will be told by the visitors." That, I believe, was what Bill Hartzog hoped for, because 50 years after commanding his infantry company in Vietnam, they were still getting together every year, and in the fall of 2019, toured the museum together. General Hartzog passed away 4 weeks before the museum opened on November 11th last year. By then, Mrs. Davis was too infirm to make the 140-mile trip from Williamsburg. However, both had seen and toured the completed museum, if not all of the exhibits and galleries still to be completed. They also missed the accolades they both so richly deserved. But both were believers that there's no limit to what you can do if you don't care who gets the credit.
All right, we're just getting our video back online so that we can answer some of your questions. All right, so we do have a few that we can ask the general. The first is, I have my father's emblems and medals from World War II. Is there someone at the museum who can help me identify them?
Of course, and let us help you with that. So Kathleen, if you would take the person's contact information, it could be a cell number or perhaps an email, and we'll help you with that very question. And we'll do it offline, but we'll do it directly and personally with you.
I will absolutely do that, sir. The next one is, where exactly is the museum located, and do I need an ID to visit?
Well, if you think of the District of Columbia, we're 20 miles south of the district, and we're between US Route 1, that's Interstate 95 on the west, and US Route 1 on the east. We're halfway between 95 and Route 1 on Route 286. So Fairfax County Parkway runs right by our front door here, and we're on Liberty Drive. While we're on Fort Belvoir, we're accessible to the public. So tickets have already been mentioned, but tickets are required to come here. And so in the ticketing process, well, we'll pick up your name and contact information, and that's all you need is the ticket to come here.
How long will the Nisei exhibit be in the museum as a temporary exhibit?
Right now, the Nisei exhibit will be on display through 2025.
And the last one is that we have time for, unfortunately, because now the questions are really coming in. How can I find my brick when I come to visit?
Yeah, it's a great question. As General Shinseki has already mentioned, we have 8,000 bricks installed. And this fall, we'll begin a south walk and a north walk later. And so we're going to have thousands more bricks installed between now and next June. So you can use the web page. TheNMUSA.org is one spot, or ArmyHistory.org. Those are web pages now. ArmyHistory.org, and you can find the brick program there. And then once you have that link, well, you can put in the search window your person's name or an individual that you wanted recognized, and the query. If your brick's installed now, your query will take you right to the location that your brick is located. You can also go to the kiosks in the museum, and the brick locator system works just like it does on the web page or on your mobile device. So we know where all the bricks are, and so if they've been installed, you'll see those available right through the search page. Now, we can't just go in and install 10 bricks at a time, and so there's a sequence here. We're going to start the south walk, which is really a pathway that the next installation of bricks are going to be installed by. And we'll start that this fall.
Thank you so much, sir. There's a lot of questions we could not get to, but if we did not get to your questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at armyhistory.org or emailing us directly at customerservice@armyhistory.org. Now, to round out our program, I'd like to send things over to the Vice President of Operations, Carrie Klein.
Thank you for joining us this evening for our virtual annual meeting. I know you've heard it throughout the program, but it cannot be stated enough. Your support has allowed us not only to open, but to reopen the doors of the National Museum of the United States Army to the general public. We appreciate your dedication to the museum, the foundation, and the preservation of Army and American history for future generations. We look forward to seeing you when you visit the museum. And remember, time tickets are required for entry and can be reserved on the museum's website. Stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Thank you, Carrie. And that completes this evening's program. It was my pleasure to be with you all tonight. You will be able to find a recording of this virtual event on our website, which will be posted later this week. From all of us at the Army Historical Foundation, thank you again for joining us and for your support. Good night.